15-4 is on screen right now. This wide-belted, black-headed, black-hipped one. This is the 15 that grew up at the Slap Barn. She was one of those that wasn't a show gilt. She really didn't come with any accolades, but her sisters are incredible. They've been absolutely spectacular for the guys that have them. There's a 15 litter that's at Trogdon's right now. She would have produced an in-game gilt in her first litter that brought $45,000 at OYE last year. Probably the most famous one is at Justin Day's there in Oklahoma. Hoff, Schulte, and Day own her together. They bought her. She was the bunt gilt that they bought from the Bunt family at OYE for $22,000. In her first litter, she produced Daylight that is at Brockman's, and then this second time around, they made another boar pig that's at Colson's and that just sold. So both of those sows have done an incredible job, and this would be a litter mate to them. Again, this is 15-4. She's been bred to JoJo. I think we've got 3 of those gilts down on the South Floor right now that came back late that got bred there in that last group. Those are JoJo's out of this sow. Really good opportunity here. This one's far from done. She's had disciples. She's had icons. Her most recent litter was out of Icon, and I know those are in the nursery. Neat sow, neat backstory here. I don't have my notes in front of me to tell you what she's bred to, but I'll let Boots give you some thoughts on that mating.
This one probably fits the mold of just a typical kingpin generating type build and type assembly. And everywhere where kingpin has been or has become so notoriable and so fairly common in terms of Southside pedigrees. And this one's bred to heavy hitter. And I know Jesse and I, whenever we saw that boar at Laird's this winter, he was awfully impressive. Visually, he mates this sow very, very well. His extras, accompanied with her basicness and just generating potential and ability, this ought to be as impressive of a litter as what she's carried so far with probably dual purpose. Males ought to have a lot of value, whether it be for bearers or maybe trying to get a boar out of there. But then the daughter retention side of this thing still has a ton of value in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna sound repetitive from a kingpin standpoint here for a minute within this offering, because there's several key kingpin daughters, and generally speaking, there's a lot of the same things to say about them. But if you study their build, the way they're constructed, the looseness of their skeleton, I mean, they don't run across the grass like this one is unless those joints are loose and work right. And these 15s, this one, she wasn't the show gilt of the bunch. But if you study her skeleton, her angles, the heavy dutiness of her skeleton, and then consider the boar that she's bred to, I do think there's a big opportunity here in a more aggressive mating than we've been in the past. This is 15-4.